I'm reading each sentence, okay? So Srinivas has been dealing with the standards of conduct because he is dealing with the Karma Yoga. And when you are dealing with Karma Yoga, it is action in the world. And action in the world means that your conduct is a very clear element in it. When you are doing Jnana Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, the standards of conduct don't come into picture because you are avoiding the physical world. You are only concentrating on your mission. You are not working in the physical world so much. But here, Karma Yoga means you are doing all sorts of work. And that means with your body, your mind, and your life. And therefore, the standards of conduct come into the picture. So, Srinivas is dealing with the egoistic standard. Then he has dealt with the social standard. He has told you that the social standard, you don't need to subscribe to it. You have to subscribe only to the divine command. But if you do subscribe, and the divine says that you can subscribe to this particular social law, that is because he is agreeing to it. The divine is not saying don't do it. A very clear example is traffic laws. Even if a realized person is going in traffic and is driving a car, he will obey the traffic rules. And that's the social laws. Okay, so very clearly there is no contradiction in that. Now it comes to the moral law. Now the moral law, there is a little bit of a problem. Okay? Because sometimes the yogin is not very moral in his ways. Okay? And there is a reason for that, because morality is not the highest standard. Okay, so with this background, I start reading. He is dealing with the third one, the moral law. There is still left the moral law or the ideal. And these, even to many who think themselves free, appear forever sacred and intangible. So what's he saying? He's saying that there are many people in the world who feel that the moral code is the highest that man can achieve, okay? That man can use. Because then they have no idea at all of the spiritual levels of existence. They have no idea at all. So you see, morality is now he's saying something interesting. He's saying that many who think themselves free, okay, those who maybe have had a little bit of an experience of the higher planes but have come down, they feel still that the moral law is the highest. Now he has used the word ideal there, and that needs a little bit of an explanation. Normally, Srinivas uses the word ideal, okay, to mean this second level, the spiritual planes of consciousness. But here he is using it in a different way. Okay? So I just read out the note that I have made here. Okay? The ideal law is a liberation of the spiritual man, but who may not be interested in working in the world for the benefit of any group or nation or even humanity. Okay? That's usually the ideal law. But yes, Srinivas seems to be taking ideal to mean that the moralist considers ethics to be the highest law of human existence, because he has used the word moral law or ideal, or the ideal. So the one who thinks that the morality is the highest, that's an ideal that he tries for. Absolute truth, absolute freedom, absolute justice, these are all his ideals. You can never get ideal rule and ideal law and ideal freedom in the ideal justice in the physical world. It's just not possible. Okay? Because this is a world of imperfection. Okay? The mind, you are only up to the mind level, and it's impossible to get the ideal conditions here. So, I read the next sentence. But the sadhaka, his gaze turned always to the heights, will abandon them to him whom all ideals seek imperfectly and fragmentarily to express. The sadhaka who is there, He will be depending only on the divine. And he will ask him what he should do in certain circumstances. Okay? He won't follow the ideal law. Okay? So, but the sadhaka who is gazed on always to the heights will abandon them. What is them? The ideal law and the ideal and the moral law. He will abandon to him. He will decide. He will be the HCAP, God. He will decide. Whom all ideals seek imperfectly and fragmentarily to express. What we understand of God's will is always only partial in the physical world. Even in the spiritual world, it is less partial, but still it is partial. It's only full of the third level, the supramental level. All moral qualities are only a poor and rigid travesty of his spontaneous and illimitable perfection. So, moral qualities, okay, goodness, sympathy, kindness, all these are moral qualities. But they are all at the physical level, they are a poor, rigid travesty. Travesty is a very poor copy. Okay? Sometimes the word travesty is used also in the sense of irony. Okay? It's ironical, okay, that you think that this is the best. Okay? So, the poor and rigid travesty of a spontaneous and illimitable perfection. The perfection of the higher levels, when it comes down, it becomes mental and reduced, it diminished, values diminished. The bondage to sin and evil passes away with the passing of nervous desire. The bondage to sin and evil. The bondage to sin and evil passes away with the passing of nervous desire. When desire goes away, the sin and evil which you think is bad, okay, and you want to avoid, that goes away. In other words, it is possible to commit sin and evil when in the eyes of the society. That's what he's saying. Okay? When desire goes away, you are going to the higher levels, and there the sin and evil don't count at all. It's not an important thing. For it belongs to the quality of vital passion. Which one? This sin, impulsion or desire or propensity in us, rajoguna. Because in the lower planes of consciousness where morality is active, you are subject to the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. Okay? Virtue is comes with the sattva. But remember, the sattva also is a chain. It binds you down. Okay? We speak of tamasic nature as an iron chain. It chains you. The rajoguna is a silver chain. We are active. We are not inactive. We are active. But it is still a chain. You are subject to your desires and your attachments and your ego. Then you come to the sattvic level. You judge everything by the light of the mind. But that also is that's where morality comes in. The mind makes morality. Morality is a product of the mind, human mind. And that is sattva. But sattva is also a chain. It may be a golden chain, but it is still a chain. Okay? And is extinguished with the transformation of that mode of nature. The bondage to sin and evil passes away with the passing of nervous desire. For it belongs to the quality of vital passion, impulsion, or drive of propensity in us, rajoguna, and is extinguished. What is extinguished? The bondage to sin and virtue. Okay? Is extinguished with the formation of that mode of nature. Transformation of that mode of nature. When you go up, morality is not an issue anymore. You don't have to submit to it. But neither must the aspirant remain subject to the gilded or golden chain of a conventional or a habitual or a mentally ordered or even a high or clear sattvic virtue. So when you become sattvic, this sin and virtue will disappear. But you should not get stuck with the clear sattvic nature either. That also is limitation. That will be replaced by something profounder and more essential than the minor, inadequate thing that men call virtue. See, the virtue, outward nature, okay, may not be doing sin, okay, but the inner being, there may be still desires in it. You are abstaining from desires and you are abstaining from sin, but the desire may be there in the mind. So that is the normal condition of man. But in the spiritual plane, if your desire has gone away in the mind, then the outer action doesn't matter at all. Okay? It matters, what matters is what the divine is telling you to do. If the divine tells you to do something sinful, you will do it. Because then you are not bound by the values at the third level, which is the social moral law. Social and moral law. That will be replaced by something profounder and more essential than the minor inadequate thing that men call virtue. So very clearly you can see virtue, what men call virtue. What men call, virtue can be real. But what men call virtue is not real at all. It's not it can be quite false. Okay? The original sense of the word was manhood. Okay? He's talking of virtue. The original sense of the word was manhood. Maybe in Greek or Latin, I don't know. And this is a much larger and deeper thing than the moral mind and its structures. The culmination of Karma Yoga is a yet higher and deeper state that may perhaps be called soulhood. Okay? Not virtue, but soulhood. For the soul is greater than the man. A free soulhood, spontaneously welling out in works of a supreme truth and love, will replace human virtue. Human virtue, okay, you don't tell lies, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't do many other things that society doesn't approve of, okay. But if you are a spiritual person, these things have no value. It's not that you must indulge in sin, but you are above sin and virtue. That's what the point is. But this supreme truth cannot be forced to inhabit the petty edifices of the practical reason, or even confined in the more dignified construction of a larger ideative reason that imposes representations as if they were pure truth on the limited human intelligence. So the sentence is quite large, big sentence. We'll have a look at what he's saying. But this supreme truth, the fourth standard of conduct, the supreme truth, okay, cannot be forced to inhabit the petty edifices of the practical reason. The practical reason, what are the petty edifices? Your ideas of virtue and sin. Okay? Your ideas that these are very petty ideas. You can do, if the divine commands you to do something like take Arjuna's case. He is being asked to actually kill. And that's a big sin in the normal consciousness of man. But if you're ordered to do that with the divine, you have to do it. Okay, sir. That's what he's saying. But the supreme truth cannot be forced to inhabit the petty edifice. Not the word edifice, it's a construction. And all mental thoughts are all constructions. They have clear forms, all thoughts have clear forms, which dissolve also very easily, but you don't see the truth. The truth is not it's an eternal thing. Okay, it's not a construction of the mind. Okay, for the practical reason, not also practical reason. There is something called a pure reason also, which is slightly superior to the practical reason. Or even confined in the more dignified constructions of the larger ideative reason that imposes its representations as if they were pure truth on the limited human intelligence. We have an idea that justice must be ideal, that truth must be ideal. But all our ideas of truth and justice and freedom, they are all not at all the real thing. They are only mental constructions. So even that need not be obeyed if you are in a spiritual condition. That's what Sri said. As if there is pure truth on the limited human intelligence. This supreme love will not necessarily be consistent. There you are. Okay? It's not consistent. Much less will it be synonymous with the partial and feeble, ignorant and emotion-driven movements of human attraction, sympathy and pity. So, human attraction and sympathy and pity. But if you are in a spiritual consciousness, there will be no attraction and repulsion. There will be no repulsion. You will have sympathy for all. Sometimes even in the spiritual plane of consciousness, there may not even be sympathy. There may just be a look. Okay? The witness consciousness. There is no sympathy or pity or anything at all there. Absolutely silent, peaceful. The petty law cannot bind the vaster book. The mind's partial attainment cannot dictate its terms to the soul's supreme fulfillment. So, in other words, we come back to the famous Gita's Sarva Dharman Parityajya. At the spiritual level, we have to give up all petty standards of conduct, which the mind says is very good. The mind says these are ideal laws, but you don't need to subscribe to them. We read the next one. At first, the higher law and truth will fulfill its movement. So, Pallavi, today is Tuesday. It's your day. You can read the
Yes, Rangada.
Go ahead. At first, the higher law.
At first, the higher love and truth will fulfill its movement in the sadhaka according to the essential law or way of his own nature. For that is the special aspect of the divine nature, the particular power of the supreme Shakti, out of which his soul has emerged into the play, not limited indeed by the forms of this law or way, for the soul is infinite. But still, its stuff of nature bears that stamp, evolves fluently along those lines, or turns around the spiral curves of that dominating influence. He will manifest the divine truth movement according to the temperament of the sage, or the lion-like fighter, or the lover and enjoyer, or the worker and servant, or in any combination of essential attributes, gunas, that may constitute the form given to his being by its own inner urge. It is this self-nature playing freely in his acts which men will see in him, and not a conduct cut, chalked out, artificially regulated by any lesser rule or by any law from outside.
Yes, sir. Very small para. I'll do one thing. I'll read out the summary and then we'll look at the ideas what he's saying in each word. So, yeah. Yeah, now he's saying in this para, he's saying, in the fulfillment of the integral yoga, shallow virtue is replaced by divine love and truth. But love and truth will express, just 1 second. Yeah. In the fulfillment of the integral yoga, shallow virtue is replaced by divine love and truth. But love and truth will express themselves in the liberated individual according to the bent of his inner essential personal soul nature, Swabhava. Okay? In each one, this truth and love will express themselves in a different way. What it will express in one will not be the same as it expresses itself in another. Whereas in moral law, it has to be the same for everyone. That's what is being said. Okay? Swabhava. which is different for each individual. So the truth and love of the divine will come and express itself differently in each individual according to his nature. However limited and imperfect the individual outer nature, it always bears the stamp of that essentiality of the soul nature Swabhava. The liberated man would have the characteristics of a Brahmin, or a Kshatriya, or a Vaishya, or a Shudra, each having the tendency of knowledge or courageous, warrior-like character of the nature of an enjoyer, or splendor, richness, or the humility of a loyal servant. What Swami is saying is there are basically 4 types. All human types can be essentially brought down to 4 types. The one who is looking for knowledge, the one who is looking for power and force in its good sense, the one who is looking for splendor and beauty and love, the Vaishya, and finally the one who is service oriented, service, humility, okay, seva, okay, dasyam. That is it. So the truth and love of the divine will express themselves in different ways in all these 4 characteristics. That's what he's saying. Okay, so. But the soul, but no soul is only one single nature. All the 4 forms are present in each one in different proportions, with one predominating prominently. What Swami is saying is that nobody is only of Sattvic type, nobody is only of Rajasic type, and nobody is only of the Tamasic type. They are all mixed together. Everybody has got something of all the 4 standards: knowledge, force, okay, splendor and beauty, and humility. Everybody has got all these in different proportions. They are never singly available in any one man. Okay? All the 4 forms are present in each one in different proportions, with one predominating prominently. There is a free play of the divine in each individual in conformity with his swabhava, soul nature. When the divine expresses truth and love through each one, it will be received in the individual according to his nature. Okay? This is very easy to understand. Each one is let us say we are all vessels. Okay? One is a blue colored vessel, okay, with a vertical cylinder like. Another is a flat plate like red color. Okay? All these you can go on making. So when the truth and love, which is a colorless fluid, okay, because it's infinite, comes down, it occupies the vessel in the lower exactly according to the nature. It will be tall and blue in one, it will be flat and red in another. So it depends exactly on that. There are no characteristics of the love and truth at the higher level. They are all impersonal forces. And when they come down, they adjust themselves to the individual nature. That's what Sridhar said. It is this essential conduct of his that other men will see, and not anything shallow, limited only by the outer nature. For instance, Rambo, it will express itself through his writings, because he is a Brahmin type. So he was a Vaishya, but his nature is Brahmin type. Mother was into painting and music, okay? And she is also the Vaishya type with splendor and beauty. These ones that content affluence, okay? Variety of wealth. These are also mentioned. So, for the moral law, everybody has to behave in the same way. But the divine law, everybody does not behave in the same way. That's basically what he's saying. So now we'll go through each sentence and see what he's saying. At first, the higher law, love and truth will fulfill its movement in the sadhaka according to the essential law or way of his own nature. So essential law and way of his own nature is swabhava. Each soul has got its own nature. For that is a special aspect of the divine nature. The particular power of the Supreme Shakti, out of which his soul has emerged into the plane. This reminds you of the Gita. Okay? Para Prakriti Jiva Bhuta. The individual has come from the Supreme Shakti. Okay? The power of the Supreme Shakti, out of which his soul has emerged into the plane. Not limited indeed by the forms of this law or way, but the soul is infinite. But still, its stuff of nature bears a stand. That stand evolves fluently along those lines or turns around the spiral curves of the dominating influence. So dominating influence, each one may be of one type. He may be of a Brahmin type, or he may be of the Vaishya type, or the Shudra type, or the Kshatriya type. So according to that, the divine influence will shape itself in the individual. He will manifest the divine truth movement according to the temperament of the sage. Temperament of the sage, the Brahmin. Or a lion-like fighter, the Kshatriya. Or the lover and enjoyer, that's a Vaishya. And the worker and servant, the Shudra. Or in any combination of essential attributes, gunas, that may constitute the form given to his being by his own inner purge. This is the soul itself, according to his line of development, becomes a Brahmin or the Kshatriya. It's not a heredity oriented thing. It's not hereditary. Okay? It is the self nature playing freely in his acts, which men will see in him, and not a conduct cut, chalked out, artificially regulated by any lesser law or by any law from outside. It will be the inner law that people will see when a man is self-realized. Very clearly you can see. It's very interesting what he said, because Ramakrishna said that about Vivekananda and about a man who was Nag Mahasaya. That was his name. Okay. So one was very humble and very, very sweet nature, very humble and self-effacing. And Vivekananda was the opposite. Okay. He is the one who has knowledge. He is super confident. But both the divine law will express itself in different ways. So what Ramakrishna said about Vivekananda is very interesting. He said that he is so big and so large that no net of Prakriti will be able to trap him. He's too big. He'll break away from any net. That's his character. Okay? And no net will be big enough to keep him in bondage. And about Nag Mahasaya, he said that he is so small and so humble that not even the tiniest loop in a net will be able to hold him. He will come through. Okay. So both are escaping the bondage of nature, but in different ways. One is breaking the net, and one is coming through the smallest hole. So this is what Sri is saying here. It depends on the nature of the individual. Okay, so that's it. Now, 29. We have got still 11 minutes, so we can read the next one. But there is a yet higher attainment. So it's already 8:30, so I will ask Kiran, have you got the text with you? You have not read for a long time. You can read.
Yes, Rangada.
Go ahead, read. But there is a yet higher attainment.
But there is a yet higher attainment. There's an infinity, Anantya, in which even this last limitation is exceeded, because the nature is utterly fulfilled and its boundaries vanish. There the soul lives without, for it uses all forms and molds according to the divine will in it. But it is not restrained, it is not tied down, it is not imprisoned in any power or form that it uses. This is the summit of the path of works, and this the utter liberty of the soul in its action. In reality, it has there no actions, for all its activities are a rhythm of the Supreme and sovereignly proceed from that alone, like a spontaneous music out of the infinite.
That is a very interesting paragraph what he's saying. Okay. He's saying that even a liberated man, spiritually liberated man, will act in the physical world according to his nature. Okay. But there's an even higher level, okay, the supramental level, where even this nature, okay, the nature of the soul, not nature of the body mind life, huh? Not nature of nature, but nature of the soul, okay, will not be subjected to that. It will go even beyond that. That's what he's saying. So I'll just read the summary, okay, and then we'll go to the each other small para. What has been described in the previous para is the condition of the liberated man on level 2 in the spiritual planes of consciousness, the ideal planes, the spiritual planes. But there is still further spiritual ascent possible into the unwalled infinite Anantyam. Okay. Note the Kiran, note the bar on the A. Okay. So you have to pronounce it in a long. It's not a short but a A. Okay. So Anantya. Ananta is the adjective. Anantya is the noun. Anantyam, the infinite. Okay. So then what is there is still a further possible spiritual ascent. He's talking on the level 3. It is an unwalled infinite Anantya. In other words, even your soul nature will not bind you down. What is suggested is that any direction, the supermind can work in any direction. It can work in knowledge, it can work in force, it can work in the splendor and beauty, it can also work in the humblest and smallest things also it can work. In fact, in the record of Yoga, Sri Aurobindo says that all these opposites have to be combined. He says that you must become master, but also you must be subject to the divine dasyam. Das, you must be a das and also a master, both together. So that is what he's saying at the supramental level, even the soul nature will not bind you down. Any work that is needed, you will be able to do. The divine will guides the soul at that level 3 with absolute freedom, without restrictions, using everything, all forms and modes. There is no restraint, no rules, no limits, no ties or relations. This is the very peak of Karma Yoga. In a way, this free soul has no work to do anymore, because acting without even acting, he is not only reflecting and executing the divine will alone, like a spontaneous music out of the infinite. So when you become the divine, he is not bound by only knowledge or power or beauty. He is everything together. So that's what Sri is saying in this paragraph. So I'll read the small para, each line, you'll see. But there is a yet higher attainment, not the spiritual level, but the third level, the supramental. Okay? There's an infinity, Anantya, in which even this last limitation, which is the last limitation, that in the physical world you will be acting according to your soul nature. Now, be very careful. You are not acting with the nature of your body, mind, life. Okay? You are acting because the divine is acting through you and he is acting through your soul. So each soul also has got its own nature. The 4 natures, okay? Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So this nature is utterly fulfilled and boundaries vanish. Even the 4 characteristics of the soul, even they vanish. It's a very interesting thing because Sri Aurobindo said very clearly that I am never was a philosopher. But when it was suggested to him that he should do the philosophical journal called the Arya, he said that a yogi should turn his capacities to anything. So he started doing philosophy, which he never was, he says. Okay? But there is a clear indication that if you are in that level, okay, the supreme level, you can turn your work to any direction. But in the spiritual planes, your behavior in the physical world will be governed by your soul nature. That's what it is. These are also sort of subtle boundaries which disappear. There, the soul lives without any boundaries. No boundary of knowledge, no boundary of force, no boundary of beauty, nothing. No boundary of even the Shudra. But it is not restrained. It is not tied down. It is not imprisoned in any power or form that it uses. It reduces all forms, but it is not subject to them. This is the summit of the path of works, and this the utter liberty of the soul in its actions. This is the Karma Yoga, mind you, not in the Jnana Yoga or the Bhakti Yoga. There you will be guided by the divine according to your soul nature. But here in Karma Yoga, no. This is the summit of the path of works, Karma Yoga, and this utter liberty of the soul in its actions. In reality, it has there no actions at all. For all its activities are a rhythm of the Supreme and sovereignly proceed from that alone, like a spontaneous music out of the infinite. So there is no question of any nature, nothing at all. The divine is acting. You are not acting anymore. So you don't have any work. The divine is acting through you. That's what it's. So we stop here today. We have done 3 paras. The total surrender. Then what it is, we'll see next time. Okay. There are 3 minutes. So if there's any question, we can deal with them. But otherwise, we will close here today. Okay.
Thank you, Rangada.
Have a good day, everybody. Have a nice day.
Thank you,
Au
Ranga.
revoir, bonne journée.
Bonne
Merci
journée.
beaucoup.